Oh, God. Well,
I don't know.
I might as well be today, right?
Might as well be today at the end of today's podcast.
Okay.
All right.
And
Stay tuned to the end of today's podcast.
And maybe we can get in a little Danganronpa talk.
Not today.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Unfortunate.
No Dungeon Grandpa today.
I'll take it away because I didn't do shit this week.
Sure.
I played a bunch of FF15 on stream. That game is a ton of fun. It reminds me. Did you guys play? I know Wooly didn't play Dragon's Dogma.
No.
Lean, did you play Dragon's Dogma?
A bit.
Not
a lot.
It reminds me
I
so
did.
much. Thank you, Plague.
You didn't ask, you piece of... Okay,
I forgot you were here, you bald fuck. I'm bald also.
I shaved my head.
Really?
It's by choice.
Oh, it's my... oh, fuck.
It's a style.
FF15 reminds me a lot of Dragon's Dogma, but instead of the mechanics being like rock solid, like Devil May Cry level like polish on that, it's the breadth of content. It's every single thing I look at, Prompto or Ignis or Gladiolus has something to say. Every single...
Wait, which game are you talking about?
FF15.
Okay, not Dragon's Dogma.
Not Dragon's Dogma.
Because Dogma has the same sort of problem.
Yeah, no.
Benefit.
It has the opposite problem, okay? Dragon's Dogma has the fucking problem where it's like the road splits up ahead. We must make doubly sure of where it leads. And wolves attack and packs are risen. And every fucking voice clip that everyone remembers because they only have like 35 lines. FF15 has a fucking explosion of dialogue on every action. It's ridiculous.
No, the breadth of it is insane. Like I mean, there are some repeat lines, obviously.
Aha! I've got it.
But like,
What's that? I've come up with a new recipe.
well, no, that one's a good one. I like that one repeating. But like, yeah, they're always just saying new
Every
things.
side quest and location I went to, they had something to say.
Yeah.
And including returning to old locations.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Like,
Oh, really?
yes.
Huh, okay.
It's really awesome. Like, I ran around Goblin Key, apparently that's how you pronounce it,
Key, yeah.
a bunch of times, and was not able to trigger the romantic line where they're all like, haha, what a romantic place, and you're spending it with us. Instead, I got other different dialogue, probably because it didn't show up there at night. That game's a blast. That game's a fucking blast.
I'm
really
not,
good.
I'm still not sure about what triggers the sort of like, let's sit on the roof and have a personal moment kind of conversation that I had with
Prompto? Prompto?
Yeah, with Prompto.
Yeah.
And I was like, was it just going to stay at this particular inn?
Yeah,
or
right.
was it-
yes.
Right place, right time. Yeah.
Okay.
The answer to that is yes.
Yeah.
Like, all the places that you rest have something going on. Like, I slept near Goblin Key, and Gladiolus was like, hey, man, let's have a little mini-game
Let's go run.
Let's go have a run.
Exactly.
And
Don't be lazy.
And you want to run behind him so you can stare at his disgusting glutes. They're offensive.
Gladio.
Ban that sick filth.
Gladio makes me glad. It's like, who do you want to take more pictures? Gladiolus. Gladio.
Okay, Prompto keeps taking these pictures of Ignis just standing around, and I'm getting super fucking
There's a lot of
pissed.
those.
I'm getting so pissed.
I asked him to take more pictures of Ignis, and I was like, yeah, but more good pictures of Ignis.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, okay,
Just wait until you
these aren't-
unlock the ability to take selfies, and then you just get really
I made
bad
that
selfies.
I made that decision and was like, use your own discretion pretty early. Can I change that? Can I change that?
I don't.
He's gonna ask
Probably.
you again.
Okay, thank you.
He's gonna ask you
The
again.
answer is take photos of Gladiolus's butthole.
But that would require you to drive and not fast
All in
travel.
there. I drive everywhere.
This is a Final
Oh, yeah?
Fantasy
Okay.
game?
Yeah, I know, right?
Okay, tell me something about this game. Because normally whenever I hear about it, people are talking about the interactions that they have on a personal level with the cast.
It's the
Bros.
best. It's the best Ninja Turtles game made in years.
Ever. Yeah.
Okay, so it's sort of like a friend simulator.
Kind of. So,
No,
You start with
you
your
get to
party
watch
of
these
four.
guys be friends together.
You start with your party of 4 immediately.
You're
You
not
don't
allowed
build
to.
the party as the story goes in that same way. You have the set group,
Yeah.
and they have a dynamic, and it's pretty much like you have fun watching that dynamic unfold.
So I got to watch Kingsglaive and Brotherhood before I watched before I watched FF15. Before I played the FF15. Did you guys watch those?
Yeah, Brotherhood's
no.
all right, and I haven't watched Kingsglaive because I know there's a spoiler in it that requires you to be a certain distance for it to not be a spoiler anymore.
I played. What do you call it? I watched both of them beforehand.
What do you think of Brotherhood? 'Cause I didn't watch
Brotherhood
that one.
is solid.
It's all right.
That is a solid miniseries that just is nothing. It's about just the characters. Like,
Okay.
here's who they are.
Yeah.
Gladiolus is big and strong, but he hated Noctis when he was young because he was a bitch, and he's like, blah, 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 you know.
Here's his sister, so she doesn't just show up out of nowhere in the game.
I assume that.
They established that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because she does kind of just show up out of nowhere in the game.
Yeah.
Now, Kingsglaive, however. Kingsglaive
Best Final Fantasy movie?
is a piece of shit.
Nice.
Oh.
Nice.
Kingsglaive is Advent Children with characters you don't know or care about. And much like Advent Children, it is kind of nonsense for 2/3 of the movie and then engages in the most balls-to-the-wall, gravity-defying action scene for like half an hour that you've ever seen.
Well, that's
With characters that you
Don't know and don't care about.
I see.
That is exactly what I would expect.
Now, the first half or more of the movie is really confusing. Like,
just hard to follow.
It almost feels like they expected you to have played 15 beforehand to know who these people are. I don't know. It's fucking weird. Like, there are so many things that are not said as to where these characters are from. What is going on with the city? What is the wall? What, like, shit like that. Mm-hmm. There are weird cameos. Diamond Weapon and Ultros feature prominently in that game. In that movie. Super weird. But that action scene at the end that just goes and goes and goes and goes and goes is awesome. The biggest problem is they keep telling you, man, Luna Freya, she's so important. She's so important. We got to protect Luna Freya. But they never, ever, ever, ever tell you why Luna Freya is important.
just she's important.
Okay, when I played 15 and they mentioned that she's the Oracle,
Yeah.
that's the first time I heard about it.
Oh, wow.
It's not mentioned in that movie,
That's weird.
which feels like that would have been an important piece of information.
Also,
Yeah.
you could also totally miss extra details about being an oracle if you don't listen to the radio.
Yeah. Also, Liam, that spoiler for
Oh, yeah. What's the
15?
chapter count on that?
One.
Oh, yeah? Oh.
Okay.
Huh.
So the cast is really good. They're voiced by a lot of prominent voice actors. Regis the King is voiced by Sean Bean.
Mm-hmm. So,
And
so he does the Sean Bean thing.
And whatchamacallit?
So you're good.
I thought there was a
Go.
character who took off
course.
his helmet, and that reveal was a spoiler.
Oh, is that a spoiler?
I only because that's what I read is a character takes off a helmet and seeing his face is a spoiler for the game.
What about
That would be a spoiler to me because that character shouldn't be around anymore.
what about Lena Headley?
She's fine.
Okay.
She's good. The Mr. Paul, Aaron Paul, playing Nyx Arcturus or whatever the fuck.
He's the protagonist.
He
in the
does a
movie,
decent
right?
job with the weird material he's given.
Okay.
It's very weird. But there's a lot of shiny fight bangs and Gurren Lagann style shit in there.
Aaron Paul in a fantasy.
So it's a fun watch if you can get... Like, the worst thing about Kingsglaive is it's the kind of movie that if you walk out halfway through because it sucks, you miss the best part of the movie.
Because it's all
Loaded at the back,
backloaded. Yeah.
It's all backloaded.
like Tekken?
You mean
Yeah.
like Fated Retribution.
Fated
that one?
Retribution.
Yeah.
Tekken.
How long has the idea for 15 been around? Because didn't it develop out of Versus?
Yeah.
Versus 13?
More?
Over a decade.
Over a decade.
The
yeah.
idea.
Okay,
Yeah.
so was that the same story though?
No.
Okay, so this is the weird thing. If you go back and
This is what I'm thinking.
do you remember the original gameplay trailer for 15?
Yeah.
The very for 13 Versus. For the
Yeah,
first
13,
gameplay
yeah,
one.
Yes.
What you're seeing there is what I believe to be what if Noctis was around during Kingsglaive and did all the Kingsglaive stuff before going out into the wider world. Like, the
Perhaps,
Kingsglaive is the Midgar kind of section of the game. The other thing that's really bizarre about Kingsglaive is that I played up until the point of the game where Kingsglaive just happened.
Yeah.
Like, it's done now.
And it's really awful.
And it's understated in game as to what occurs.
Kingsglaive takes place during
Kingsglaive, okay.
do you remember early in the game where you have to stay at that nice hotel?
Yeah.
Kingsglaive
Those
happens.
CG cutscenes are just Kingsglaive.
Yeah.
It's like
It's
I
weird.
really like the game, but
It's so
it's
weird.
awful. Like the storytelling.
Honestly,
is awful.
me and my girlfriend were playing it, and we came to the decision that, like, if those CG cutscenes were not there, it would have actually made more sense.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they would just read the paper and then go, "Oh, what happened?" So the problem with Kingsglaive and the problem with FF15 and the way that it's presented is that you at some point you go, "Oh, Kingsglaive happened. We better go check out what happened."
Yeah.
And you get stopped at the border and you can't see, and you see smoke in the distance. And they're like, "Oh, the city has fallen," is the phrase that's used in English.
Yeah.
Okay. my girlfriend pointed out to me, it's a Team America quote, the city did not fall. Kingsglaive is 9/11 times 1,000. Like, that city, spoilers for this shitty movie, is reduced to dirt. It is absolutely annihilated. But the game doesn't even imply that at all.
They don't know.
At all.
Well, I don't know right now, even because we're out of the border and we're just doing our other shit, dicking around.
I'm talking.
We don't know how bad it actually is.
I'm talking
like flattened,
higher than Godzilla levels of destruction.
Right. Yeah. Okay. I mean, there was that one CG shot from that FMV that I thought was just the game.
Yeah. No.
Where
that's Kingsglaive.
you see cities getting wrecked by airships.
You see
Kingsglaive
Diamond Weapon
City is a beach now.
Yeah.
Okay.
You see Diamond Weapon in that little CG part, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, cool. What you don't see is that there are 12 Diamond Weapons attacking the city all at once.
Wow.
And I feel more confused by having watched the Lore movie.
Yeah.
It's super weird.
I'm saving that all for afterwards.
Okay, so thoughts on 15? This, I can tell right away, this story is going to get bad. And there are going to be big plot holes.
Yeah.
Because, the feeling of, let's plug these holes with extra expanded universe things, and the talk of, we're going to add more cutscenes to the game to make plot holes make sense.
Just the way the story's coming out over time in the game,
weird.
It's disjointed, and
But
I like
95% of my time has had nothing to do with the story of Noctis the King.
Yeah.
It has been road trip with my stupid bros.
Yeah.
And the road
Cup
trip with your
noodles,
stupid bro game is fucking awesome. It's one of the best games I've played all year. Because those bros are idiots.
It kind of makes me think that Kingsglaive and everything that is written for the game and for the movie was just barely developed beforehand. The reason why that the two don't really sync up is probably because they were handled by different teams or something. There was something.
It feels like Kingsglaive was
that.
the first part of the game, and it got cut out so that most of the game could be open world.
Yeah, it makes me wonder because obviously I'm not super late in the game. Maybe I'm crazy. But there's a lot of old scenes from Versus 13 footage where Noctis is in a bar with what's her face. I forget her name. Not Luna Freya. The previous blonde girl who got
Sydney?
removed from the game. No, who got removed from the game.
Oh god, that's so confusing.
I always forget her fucking name.
So did the game.
There's a lot, and again, maybe the end of the game is in that city. I don't know. I'm not there yet. But and also the decision to use Kingsglaive footage in the game.
Weird.
It makes you wonder, were they okay, we want to have nice CG cutscenes, may as well make a movie? Or was it we're cutting so much story, let's make a movie and also use it as CG cutscenes? And this doesn't even get into the whole the anime, which is all the character intros that are just not in the game.
Which in a normal game you would have gotten to an hour in, and you would have gotten Prompto's backstory in-game engine.
Yeah, and it also omits the drama CD. Which the English version has a write-up, an English script you can read, and it's nothing, and it's
is there
gotta leave the city.
Is there content in the beat 'em up too?
Probably. Haven't played it yet.
Well, no.
Someone sent us a code, and I'm sure we'll check that out at some point. But I haven't. It's played
really
it yet.
obvious that the game stinks of being slapping together huge amounts of work that were already done.
Just slashed to bits, though. Yeah.
And it reminds me kind of Randy Pitchford talking about Duke Nukem Forever, where he's well, we did the best we could with the assets we had. And they had this giant fucking open world, and they focused on shoring up all this dialogue and fixing all these hunts and stuff like that, so it'd be a fun open world game. But, they would have had to make in order to get the story perfect or a classic Final Fantasy, I feel they would have had to make a whole nother game again. Another 2 years to make a proper storyline.
Kind of sounds like I had a similar problem to Phantom Pain.
Yes, it feels a lot like that.
And the director was removed and stuff.
Yeah, so I guess there are similarities. Would you suggest actually going into that stuff right now in the middle of the playthrough? Or,
yes,
the anime 100%.
The anime is I would consider vital watching.
Okay,
it has no plot elements whatsoever. It is just here is
backstory
on Prompto, Ignis, Gladiolus, and a little bit on Noctis.
Sure.
which makes him more... Because at the start of the game, he's kind of unlikable, and then about an hour or two in of the story, he's much more likable when he's making his stupid puns. But in this way, he starts a little more likable right away.
Yeah, no, in the show, like, one of the very early scenes, I'll just go ahead, is like, they're at a restaurant, and he's picking the vegetables off his burger, and you really get a sense for his personality, like, right away.
He's picking all the vegetables off his burger.
Yeah, okay. Totally.
And it's not like a great show.
And he's putting
but they're
them
10-minute episodes, and there's only like 5 or 6 of them.
And he's putting them on Ignis's burger, I think.
Something like that.
It's super weird.
Okay. You should watch the anime just now, just immediately, because it'll only add to your experience.
Now, as for Kingsglaive, I would say if you don't watch Kingsglaive right before the game, because depending on how much you dick around, you can get to the part where Kingsglaive happens in that story in like 45 minutes. Like, it's pretty
fast. Immediate, yeah.
You should watch it after that cutscene.
Yeah, okay.
And be
I'm way beyond that cutscene.
So you should watch it because it's important. Because they say this character died. This thing happened in the city. This is why Luna Freya is walking down a road by herself like a weirdo. And it's kind of like I really don't feel like it's going to be important going forward in the story at all. But it's such a massive part of the backstory that it is baffling to me that it is not incorporated properly into the game.
The contents of that are like the whole thing that sets off.
Eli,
your
are you
adventure.
driving right now?
Oh, that's
no, he's
yeah, I'm driving. That's what's happening.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's what sets off like
it's
the spike of the adventure. So that's a weird one. Okay.
Yeah. Well, okay, it doesn't set off the spike of the adventure because the characters don't know about it until after the adventure has started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you only find out about it, I totally agree, in that stilted way.
So here's the weirdest part about it at all, and it's why I think that part was slammed in there at the last second. The way that it works is you're staying at a hotel, and everyone's like, we're waking up. This is really early in 15, guys. Don't worry about it. And
like first fifth of the game,
not even.
If not
it's
earlier,
chapter 1.
Yeah.
It's the end of chapter 1 of 15.
Oh yeah, that's right when the first chapter ends.
And Ignis comes out and he's like bummed out and like, what? And he has a newspaper in his hand, and the newspaper says the city has fallen, right? And then but right before that, they cut to shots of Kingsglaive all over the place, and they talk about what happened at the city, blah blah. And it's awkward and it's jarring. And all I can think of is like all they would have had to do is have a different scene in which they're having breakfast at the bar and they look up and the news is on because TVs exist and the news is real.
Well, the radio was giving details,
and they just see shots from Kingsglaive as if it were a news broadcast, and that would be so much more organic and normal, and you wouldn't have that hard cut.
Personally, like I would have really preferred if they had just gotten the newspaper. And the first look you get at the city is that when you go to the cliff,
and
very shortly after.
And then when the guy calls you on the phone and it fades to black, and then you see the Kingsglaive cutscenes. And like,
if even at all.
Now I know we're all amateurs and like I don't make games, but these seem like really obvious changes that you could make.
There was radio discussion that you listen to of like what's happening in the news.
Yeah.
Whether it happens right away or on your way there driving, I forget. But I do remember that you got to catch the details of what was going on through that device. But I feel that like even if they didn't do what you just described and they had what they had in the game without that weird jump into footage of movie, which I guess I didn't know was footage of movie.
Yeah.
Which set my expectations up.
Because if you didn't know, you wouldn't know. Yeah.
Yeah, and it set my expectations up for like, I guess, something of another Final Fantasy expectation of I'm going to hit another chapter in the game where another big expensive cutscene is going to drop.
Nope.
No, that's from the like final half an hour big fight thing, right?
Yeah.
And within like
it shows the big final fight between the king and the other guy.
And within like 2 more hours of pure story gameplay, there's nothing left.
That stuff's ancient history.
Yeah. And that's never going to happen again. That's fucking weird.
Yeah.
Maybe the ending at least.
One of the weirdest things is that you run into a character from Kingsglaive in the story really early, and his design is not what it is in Kingsglaive.
Well, it's like Luna Freya, right? Where you look at her and you're like, that's not... Your face is wrong.
Yes.
What happened?
Because in Kingsglaive, they made the faces
really hit you
look like the actors.
Yeah.
But
they look like the people,
didn't translate back into the game.
Right.
So in Kingsglaive and in the Kingsglaive cutscenes that you see in the game, he looks just like Sean Bean, old Sean Bean. but he doesn't look like that the first time you see him in the
game when he's
this game is weird, and I feel very strongly that it is very much like MGS5 where it's
a lot of internal meddling.
There's a lot of internal meddling. There's a lot of grabbing different pieces. The director got pulled, like Liam said. I completely forgot that happened.
Yeah.
But the difference is that Final Fantasy 15 is not like the next saga in a long-running story that I'm really emotionally invested in.
Yeah.
And also, the equivalent of that would be like if the story of you and your mother base bros was like 95% of the game and had tons of cutscenes and tons of awesome moments.
Not base management.
And not just base management with like one cutscene where Quiet prances around in the rain.
Let me ask you this. There's been apparently a lot of, I don't know the politics of it, but there's been apparently a lot of restructuring within their company ever since the debacles of 13 and so on. Mm-hmm. So how big of a step up is all this, flaws and all, from 13?
Massive.
Because, okay.
I mean, like, in terms of, like, gameplay, and gameplay is way better, obviously, and, like, world design is way better.
Well, because it's
but 13 does have like incredible strengths, like music and visuals, and the presentation in 13 is second.
Well, no one's ever really
like,
lambasted their vision.
But like, at least the story is comprehensible if fucked.
Yeah, the 15 story so far is bad but fine, and I can understand it. Whereas the 13 story is a jargon-filled mess.
You have to fucking. It's interesting once you get what's going on, but you won't get it by the end of the game.
The decision to tell literally every part of the story out of order in flashbacks is totally baffling to me.
Is 13.2 and 13.3 equally as linear?
Let's not even talk about that.
13.3's... No, they're not equally as linear at all. That was like the main thing they wanted to fix. 13.2 is more linear than 13.3, which is crazy. Like, 13.3 is crazy.
13.3 is kind of like Assassin's Creed.
Lightning Returns is like a good game. Like, it's good, dude. It's runs a bit poor, but like it's really satisfying, and it's got its own thing going on entirely. And it's like you can play it standalone as well.
So how good is Final Fantasy?
Hope is like perpetually young though in the sequels.
Yeah, well,
that's weird.
How good is 16 going to be then?
I have a lot of faith in 16 because watching is it Tabata?
Yeah, Hajime Tabata.
Tabata feels like another Yoshi P, where it's somebody they brought in and was like, fucking fix this mess.
Yeah.
And what came out is astonishingly good despite its continuing flaws. I have a lot of faith for 16, honestly.
The thing that I'm most excited about with 15 coming out is that 16 can maybe begin to exist.
Me and Liam, I think you made the joke like a year and a half ago that you don't give a fuck about 15, but you're really excited for 16.
I'm really excited for 16 because at this point it's been a decade of this was the next one.
At least it's a step.
Yeah,
like it may not at
least
up or down. It is a step.
Yeah, I mean, at least I can look at the company again and not just like think that they're what's it called? Their tentpole titles. Like Dragon Quest. It was like, okay, you made 9 and it was whatever. It was good, but it was like it was that DS game that wasn't the best Dragon Quest with like the most iconic characters or anything. And then 10 was an MMO. And then Final Fantasy...
11 was an MMO.
11.
Dragon Quest.
Sorry,
Dragon
my
Quest
bad.
10 was an MMO, yeah. And then no DQ11 until recently. And then Final Fantasy was like the mire that was 13. And then Type 0, and then nothing.
Well,
and then
it's
this.
like Final Fantasy has had like issues of meddling and directorial control and bloat for ever.
Yeah.
The last game that came out without any like developmental issue was 10. Like 11 was an MMO and that was pretty successful and decent. 12 had the Matsuno problem, which everybody knows about, where him and the company argued.
Like it was good, but
13 is known as itself, and then the as Liam described it pretty accurately, the mire that was 13's continued existence.
They're better, but they're not.
14 was like the largest disaster ever for the company, and it had to rebirth that realm. And then 13 versus /15 got dragged down into development hell for years and years and years.
Yeah,
like I would be really, really excited for a game that they started to make, and then they made it, and then it came out.
Yeah, it's just nice to look at Square Enix now for me and be like, okay, there's Dragon Quest 11. FF15's out the door. FF7 is coming, and another Final Fantasy will hopefully be
Yeah, like
forthcoming.
on the way, forthcoming.
It would be nice if they would just develop
10 years
a game.
of this, so.
It
Sorry,
would be
Eli.
nice if they just developed a game. Don't worry about the anime tie-in. Don't worry about the expansions. Just have a game and have it just be that.
Okay, but I really like the Cup
Noodles.
Noodles. I really like the Cup Noodles tie-in.
The excitement for a new
That's not a
setting
joke.
introduction is exciting. I agree
too.
with that. Was that it?
One thing I'll say about it, I have not
Hmm.
played 15, but I will say that probably the best thing that you can do in your writing is not focus on the overall nonsensical plot, especially if it's a JRPG, whatever, is focus on the relationship between your characters. And from what I can tell, that is the immense strength of 15.
That's
the game,
all they did.
The game, after its really cool opening, pretty much immediately cuts to playing a great cover of Stand By Me.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
look no farther.
They're not strong, but
That more than anything else, whether it's a game or a story or a film, people will usually come back to things for that. Like Star Wars is a great example
It's
of
a
that.
safe linchpin that'll work.
Yeah, because people get attached to their fictional friends.
I
It's a
really
great
have to
way
say
of
though
explaining anything.
that they're lucky that they nailed those characters
Mm-hmm.
because if even one of them was bad, that game would be trash.
Yeah, but they all come together.
Yeah.
They really do.
Yeah, if it was
not
those
trash,
guys
it would be
plus Kate
annoying.
Sith was also there.
Well,
Yeah.
Ignis is annoying to me, but in that lovable way where I'm like, hey, Ignis, let me drive, and he goes, nah, and makes me get out of the car.
Right.
And I'm like, you fucking motherfucker, Ignis.
cares, though. You can
And
feel
he's
how he
just-
cares.
And he's just driving all cool and shit.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh.
No, but you don't want Poochie sitting in the back seat between the
Streets
two
are
guys.
perilous at
I mean,
night.
you take Poochie himself, but
Yeah,
not
I'd take
an
Poochie
equivalent
himself,
Poochie. Yeah.
Good game.
It makes
very
me think
good
that 7R might be okay.
Yep. The other thing is that I'm hyper sensitive to this kind of thing. So if you watch the Digital Foundry stuff and discovered that the frame pacing has issues on the PlayStation 4 Pro
Yeah.
with this game, the frame pacing issues are, I wouldn't say exaggerated, but they are very minor. They are considerably less jarring than Bloodborne's, for example.
Like your last update on this was you were gonna wait.
And then I got tired of waiting.
Yeah.
And I was right to get tired of waiting because that December Pro
gonna take a
patch
while.
is not going to be in December.
Yeah.
Because they announced the holiday patch for the 22nd, and there is no talk about performance shit in there.
Yeah. But I'm also playing it on Pro, and I heard that the performance was dodgy.
Spotty.
And when spotty, that's the word. And when I put it on the whatever mode, the high mode. Or
Oh, you put
whatever,
it on the high mode?
I was like, this is fine. This is better than on a vanilla PS4 in the first place. So, and the image quality is really nice. So I'm happy enough with that.
Yeah,
you know,
I'm pretty happy with my light mode.
on
it's
light it runs
very
really nice.
solid 30.
Yeah, absolutely.
Minor frame pacing issues.
You were saying also a bit of Last Guardian.
Bit of Last Guardian. That game's good.
I haven't touched it yet, but I'm excited.